Hello everybody, welcome to CKAD Lab 61. This is relatively simple, but not super simple. So the task here is we have a pod running named foo. We have to find out what namespace this belongs to. And then we have to find out, way to find out what environment variables um, its container has and what values they have in them, right? So let's do alias k equals kubectl, so we don't have to type kubectl all the time. Then it's okay, let's get pods, and you see that's not it. That's what's running in the default namespace. So if I do minus capital A, it will give me all the pods, and the one that we're looking for is named foo, and it is running in a namespace called crazynamespace. That's the namespace. So that's the answer to the first one. Now, if I do k describe pod foo, in the namespace crazy namespace, I would get all kinds of details about the pod. But if I grep for environment and look for lines five lines below and after, what you will notice is it doesn't tell me, and it's, well, I was wrong. I was going to say it doesn't tell me what environment variables it's set to, but it does. It says foo and 88 and 80. So that's one way of finding out. The other way, for sure, and this is good to know, just in your real life, how to do this, and it's cool to see that in action. So let's go to Kubernetes website, and we will simply search for shell, as in how to shell into a container. We get this link, and it gives you a command to shell into the container of the pod. So this is the command, and we'll run that, except we have to add a couple of things. We'll modify one anyway. So this is the name of the pod. In our case, the pod's name is foo, and it will not work if we do it like this because there's no pod named foo in the default namespace. So we have to add -n crazy namespace so kubectl finds the pod in the right namespace. And now we're actually in the container. You see our prompt changed. It's now root at foo. Foo is the host name, right? I can type ENV to get all the environment variables. And one of them is foo port, and it's 8080. So this is how there are two ways you can find the environment variables of the containers that runs in a pod. Now, one thing to be careful about is if you had two containers running in the same pod, and the second one had the variable and the first one didn't, if you do a kubectl describe, you will not get it because by default it goes to the first container. Not only that, if you say, hey, I want to shell into the pod, by default it goes to the first container. So you go to the first container and you will see nothing that you're looking for because it's actually in the second container. So you have to be a little careful if there are multiple containers involved. Sometimes things don't work the way you think it might do. So I hope you find this lab useful, and I will, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm, and I will see you in lab 62.